So you guys are here for our newbie Q&A, which is about the written exam. Now, I will tell you a little bit in kind of the presentation that I'm going to go through tonight about the video option, just a couple of things. But please know off of the bat that the CDC has closed registration for the video option as of June 1. So you can't, there's no way to even get in and get registered for that with the CDC. They will be releasing new templates in July. All right. And the first submission using the video option is in October, which means you won't even get scores until November, which means you've got the summer. I strongly suggest you go the written route. Okay. It's just for timing and a few other things, but I will go into that a little bit as we go through this, but really the focus tonight is on what is the content of the RICA? What do you have to know? Where are you going to start? And if you're interested, because I know some of you are here to learn a little bit about my digital course and what I created and what it offers. So if you, after we go through the slide deck, I will take you behind the scenes and I will show you all of the content so that you can kind of see what it looks like. It's pretty comprehensive, and then those that have gotten what they want, then they can go ahead and excuse themselves and we'll be good to go. Sound good? All right. I like to tell you right up front, there's an offer at the end. So I'm not one of those, but wait, there's more. Okay, it's coming. Just hang on. So what I wanted to do is start with a real quick poll. And this is to give me a little bit of information about who we're talking to tonight so that I can make sure to address any specific questions. So if you'll take just a minute and answer these quick 4 questions. Let's see who we have. Okay. Give you about another 10 seconds or so. And then we'll move on. All right, so let's see who we're working with today. So it looks like we have the majority of you are multiple subject candidates, and 5 of you have taken the RICA before and 9 of you have not. Oh, good. I love it when I get you brand new. I don't have to break bad habits. I can tell you what to do. Trust me, just do what I say. I'll get you through it. So I'm really happy about that. However, if you have some experience, you'll be able to draw on that. So it's kind of a win-win, but I do think that it's nice for you just to save some time and get you going on the right track. And let's see, one of you is currently a member. Welcome. I'm trying to see if I recognize a name in here. Who is my member? Let's see. Mark, you're not in yet, are you? No, we've been chatting though, I know a little bit. So, okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to have you here because that sometimes it's nice to come in and see, like, I'm not quite sure how to use everything. So let's see it. And then I do want to give you some information about how you can earn additional units, which will actually help you move up on the pay scale. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing that real quick. One thing that I would suggest you do, if you are able to, is open up a Google Doc, just a blank Google Doc, where you can, I'm going to drop a bunch of things in the chat for you, some links. And you are not going to have time to go through it while we're doing this, but you're going to want to have these handy, okay? And that way you can save them and we will start with that. So while you're pulling that up, I am going to drop some information in about how you can obtain up to 3 units from preparing for the RICA. I've partnered with the Teachers College of San Joaquin, and members can earn up to 3 units by actually getting ready for the RICA. You put a lot of time into this preparation, you really put in a lot of time. And so as a benefit to you, you want to grab as many units as you can, as early as you can in your career, so you can move over on that salary schedule. And if you're not sure why that is such a big deal, I've actually created a YouTube video that will explain why that is so important, because you guys are just starting and y'all know that teachers don't make enough, right? But we don't make as much compared to the regular business world. But there is a way that you can make more. And the way you do that is by collecting as many units as you can and moving up in the pay scale as quickly as you can. So far, there's a couple things in there that I want you to grab. And then while you're doing that, I'll just tell you how this is going to kind of go tonight. We'll be here for about an hour-ish, hour 15, depending on if you want to stick around and learn a little bit about the course. I have a slide deck prepared that's going to kind of guide me through our discussion. We will talk about the content, what I have to offer you, and answer any questions that you may have. So please know this is a very informal session, and I run it just like I run my workshops, which is if you have a question, please stop me and let me clear up any misunderstandings or that you may have about this. Okay, I want you to walk away going, okay, whew, I can breathe a little bit. I was really worried. Now I'm not so worried. That's the goal. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and get myself ready here. All right. So let's see. Again, this is RICA Prep 101. This is a course I created, and our mission is to make sure that we're preparing beginning teachers for the RICA exam through a step-by-step sequential process that is going to eliminate the overwhelm for you and help prepare you to pass the exam, but more importantly, become an amazing reading teacher, okay? The RICA is going to come and go. Let's be really clear. This is going to be one little hurdle in the journey of your career. You will be teaching reading for the duration. And so it will benefit you and every student you have if you can do that really well. So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Emily Muccianti. I have been a reading specialist and an interventionist, spent about 27 years in the classroom. I have one of my former paras here, Sue Williams is here. I know that's not anymore what you are, but Sue and I used to work together many years ago, and she's getting ready for the RICA. So she actually has seen me in action. So you could private message her and ask her, like, is she legit? So I actually started helping teachers prepare for the RICA about 8 years ago. One of my son's teachers reached out to me. I was the reading specialist at one of our elementary schools. She was at another site. She said, Emily, I can't pass this test. They're going to take my job. Can you help me? And I said, sure, come on over. And so every week she'd come over and I tutored her. And through the course of that, you know, I learned all about the content of the RICA, and it was content I taught every day in my reading lab. It is nothing new. It is what I do. It was like, you know, the back of my hand. And so at the time, there was very little in the way of supports for teachers to actually get some additional help aside from a couple of books. And so I started hosting workshops in my classroom about once a week. I mean, not once a week, once a month. And so I was from Madera in the Central Valley, and I would get about a dozen teachers from Fresno State National who would come over to my campus and spend a half of a Saturday with me to prepare for the RICA. And I knew it was time to go online and go broader when I was getting calls from teachers up and down the state. And they were like, okay, I'm going to get a hotel room and I'm going to come in. I'm thinking, are you crazy? That's how desperate people were. And so I decided to put it online, and that's what I did. And since then, I've actually worked with about 2,000 teachers now. It's been quite, I know, right? Mind blown, like, boom. Yeah. We've had so many teachers come through, so many teachers pass and have just amazing success. I'm so happy to say some of them, I get these emails every now and then. They're like, Emily, I love the RICA so much. I'm going back and getting my reading specialist credential. And I'm like, yes, Now I feel really, really excited about that. So that is what I did. 2 years ago, my family and we up and moved. I'm in Boise, Idaho now. So, but I do everything on Pacific time, and we kind of started a whole new life. And now I do this full time, and it's been pretty awesome. So I always tell people nobody's done the RICA longer than me. So when you're looking for resources, choose somebody that knows what they're talking about. I think that's me. So you are in the right place if you have never taken this test and you aren't sure where to even begin, or if you've taken the test but you haven't passed yet, that's okay. You're in the right place. And my special education teachers, you guys are definitely in the right place. I have a very soft spot in my heart. It's the whole reason I'm here in the first place. And so the content of the RICA can really baffle you, and it's not your fault. Your undergrad and even your master's program does a really great job of preparing you with so many aspects of special education, but teaching reading isn't one of them. And so that is not your fault. Okay. And so we're going to work toward that. I always like to have you evaluate whether or not you consider yourself an advantaged test taker or a disadvantaged test taker. And I don't do that to scare you. I do that because I'm a realist and I want you to know what you're up against. Depending on your history, some of you have an advantage, and that's great. And some of you don't. So if you are a liberal studies major, you knew you wanted to be a teacher, you have some elementary training under your belt, you've been a para, you've volunteered in your kids' classrooms for, a significant amount of time, you've subbed, long-term sub, you have an advantage. If you're currently an intern with your own classroom, elementary in particular, you have an advantage. If, however, you are a special education teacher, you have probably the biggest disadvantage. Okay. And that's just reality. And we're going to just barrel through that and get you ready. If English is not your primary language, if this is a second or third language for you, you are at a disadvantage. And that is because the RICA is timed. Okay. And the timing of that can be very challenging if you're still doing some translating, in your head as you're reading something. If you struggle with anxiety and test anxiety in particular, obviously that puts you at a disadvantage. And if you are working with upper grade elementary, say fourth on, middle school, secondary, those are our SPED teachers, you have some of a disadvantage as well. So as you're looking at this slide, I want you to think about, because I know you're all doing it right now. Well, what am I? Am I disadvantaged or am I advantaged? And I want you to drop that in the chat. Okay. I want you to drop in where you think you fall in this space. Would you consider yourself advantaged or disadvantaged? Love to see where everybody is. Okay. All right. A little bit in both. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Kind of see yourself in some of those. All right. Excellent. All right. So like I said, I don't say it to scare you. I say it to you because you've got summer coming up. Summer is testing season. You kind of need to know how much time to spend, right? All right. So what we're going to talk about first is the content of the RICA. There are 5 domains that are there are required competencies under each of those domains. So 5 main domains, and we're going to go over each of these in a little bit of detail. So domain 1, which is actually a part of subtest 3, is involved with the planning, organizing, and managing of reading instruction based on assessment. Okay, so it is looking at the data, analyzing the data, making a plan for students based on their instructional needs, and basically pairing up those assessments that are going to help you get the information that you need. There are two competencies that fall under this domain. The first is planning, organizing, and managing the reading instruction. And the second competency is all about reading assessment. What types of assessment do we give? When do we give them? For what purposes do we give them? And what kind of information can they provide us? Again, domain 1 is part of subtest 3. Now, before we go on, about 2 years ago, they reformatted the RICA into these 3 subtests. Some of you, if you've been doing this for a while, may have done it all in one. I always recommend you take the subtests in order, okay? You take them in order. And if you are at all disadvantaged, you take them each one at a time, okay? You don't take multiple subtests on the same day. That way you can focus. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I kind of wanted to put that out there. If you find yourself on that advantage side, I still do not ever recommend taking all 3 of them together. That's just, I don't have that kind of stamina. You know yourself best. Some people do it. Some people knock them all out of the park. That hasn't been a lot of the experiences that I've seen though. So you could lump like subtest 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 and kind of break it into at least 2 different parts, just an idea. So domain 2 covers word analysis. And I want you to make a note. Domain 2 is the heaviest domain in all of the subtests. In fact, you have to do well on domain 2 in order to pass subtest 1. It's the majority of your score in subtest 1, okay? Now, the reason that this one is so challenging is there's a couple of reasons. There are more competencies than any other domain, but those competencies actually take us through the development of a reader from like preschool all the way on to middle school. So there's a lot of developmental processes that is happening within that time period. A lot of development and growth in these early essential literacy skills. And so it's a really big, heavy domain. And it begins with understanding of phonological and phonemic awareness. What are the differences? How do you teach them? How do you assess for it, right? What do I do? When does it develop? And then we move into competency 4, which is the concepts of print, letter recognition, and the alphabetic principle. And these are all things that are developing around that TK kinder age, okay? Sometimes even earlier than that, sometimes a little bit later than that. And then we move into phonics and sight words. And you not only need to know the terminology and the concepts related to phonics and sight words, but you also have to understand how do you instruct for those areas and how do you assess for those areas, okay? And then the final competency relates to syllabic analysis, structural analysis, orthographic knowledge. And that's where we get into our older readers and polysyllabic words. How do we teach kids to read these really monstrous big words, right? And so you can see if you're a kinder teacher, you've got more experience in that K1 level, you're going to be pretty comfortable down here and not so much up here because this is where the older kids are. And vice versa. If you are a middle school teacher, you might feel a little more comfortable here, but not so comfortable down here. So this is a really, really big chunk of content. It will require a great deal of studying. In fact, our subtest 1 inside of the digital course and the workshop, our subtest 1, because domain 2 is part of subtest 1, this is a 6-hour workshop. And about 3.5 to 4 hours of that is just domain 2. So it's heavy, okay? It's really heavy. All right, so the other part of subtest 1 is domain 3, which is fluency. And you will learn the role that fluency plays in reading development, the factors that affect fluency, how do you instruct to develop fluency and how do you assess to monitor fluency. So those two are subtest 1. And that is where I recommend you start. Domain 2, domain 3. Okay. Again, subtest 1 workshop is open right now. It closes on Wednesday. We're doing a Friday night, Saturday morning configuration of subtest 1. I'll tell you more about that as we get to the end. So subtest 2 is all about domains 4 and 5. So domain 4 is specifically about vocabulary, academic language, and background knowledge. And I'd like you to make a note. Domain 4, there are a number of questions related to English learners. Okay, a lot of questions about EL students. Why? Because this is an area that they really have a challenge getting through. If you've ever heard the term the long-term English learner, these are our older students that aren't able to get redesignated out of EL programs. Oftentimes, the biggest hurdle is that vocabulary and that academic language. And so you will need to know some specific plans for English learners here. So you'll learn the role in reading development and the factors that affect that development of vocabulary, academic language, and background knowledge. You will need to know how to instruct and assess for those areas as well. And you can kind of probably already see a running theme here. It's all about knowing the factors that affect it and how do we assess for it. The other half of subtest 2 is domain 5. Domain 5 covers comprehension. And with this, you will need to know and learn concepts and factors that affect reading comprehension. You will learn kind of some general instruction and assessment applications of reading comprehension throughout the reading process, which is before, during, and after reading. But then more specifically, you'll have to have some knowledge of what you would do differently based on the text type. We teach narrative and literary text differently than we teach expository and informational text. They are very different in structures, and therefore they are different in some of the delivery of our instruction, our pedagogy. And so you'll have to know the differences there and how to apply that. So when we look at that subtest structure, it looks like this. There are 3 subtests. Subtest 1, again, is domains 2 and 3, which is word analysis and fluency. You can see, I said that domain 2 is a monster, man. It's a beast. There are 27 multiple choice questions related to domain 2, and there's only 8 multiple choice questions related to fluency. Okay. The multiple choice counts for 80% of your score in every single subtest. So it's really where you've got to show what you know in those multiple choice. You can, with a strong multiple choice score, if you kind of have a weaker written response, you can still pass. Okay, you can do it. So so each subtest has 35 multiple choice questions and 2 constructed responses. The medium-sized response, which is 150 to 300 words, is going to be on domain 2. The short constructed response, which is only 75 to 125 words, is all about fluency. Okay. And all of that, 35 questions, 2 constructed responses in 75 minutes. Okay. Subtest 2 is pretty much a carbon copy structurally. The difference is the multiple choice is a little more evenly distributed. It's not they're pretty even. So 19 multiple choice questions related to vocabulary and academic language, plus the short constructed response. The CDC tells us that for this particular constructed response, you will be asked about one of 3 particular learner profiles: an English learner, which honestly is the one that comes up most, a struggling reader, or an advanced student. So you will have to know how to address each of those specific learner profiles. Domain 5, comprehension, there are 16 questions, a mid-sized constructed response, and again, all of these in 75 minutes. Subtest 3, we come back to domain 1, which is all about assessment, planning, and managing reading instruction. And there are now 25 multiple choice questions on just domain 1, okay? So we also have to complete a case study. A case study is an essay that you will write after analyzing anywhere from 6 to 10 pieces of data. You will be given data bits of evidence, okay? You might be given a running record, an oral reading fluency measure, a spelling test, a writing sample, and you will have to look through that, pull out the teachable need, determine how you're going to instruct to fill that need, and provide your rationale for all of that. The essay is 300 to 600 words in length, and for all of it, 25 multiple choice, the analysis and the writing, it's an hour and a half. Goes by pretty quick. Okay. So I always suggest saving 3 for last, because domain 1, we could be assessing any of these other domains. And if you don't have the background related to these other areas, you're going to struggle here. Okay. The case study could be pulling information and data related again to any of these domains. And if you didn't prepare for these, you're going to struggle. You won't have that foundation under your belt. So the case study is truly meant to be a culminating activity of all of your knowledge, where you take everything that you know and you apply it to this hypothetical situation. So that is why I strongly urge you to save 3 for last, okay, no matter what you do. Now, I wanted to kind of show you some combinations that you could do. Again, if you are disadvantaged at all, or you're like me and you just maybe don't have stamina to sit there for 2.5 hours because your back's going to hurt, take them one at a time. All right. So what you would do is, the ideal way to prepare is to go in, complete, if you decided to go with my course, let's just say, for example, you would complete the digital content, the homework that's in there, you would attend a workshop, and then within a week of attending a workshop, you would test on subtest 1. As soon as you're done with subtest 1, you come back, you repeat that process for subtest 2, and then you repeat it for subtest 3. If you are more advantaged, you're like, nope, I got this, man, I got it. If you've got stamina, there are people I've seen that do all 3. Still don't recommend it. I wish you luck, but I don't recommend it. But you absolutely could lump either these 2, or you could lump these 2. Okay. I wouldn't lump 1 and 3 necessarily the first time out. I would want you to have all of it. So that is a possibility. So you could break it into 2 sessions. And another reason for that is, so the RICA has only a 66, 67% first time pass rate, which means 1/3 of testers don't pass it the first time. It's very challenging. And if you don't pass a subtest, you have to wait 45 days to test again. That's a long time. So if you do it this way, like I'm going to prepare for 1, I'm going to come back, I'm going to start preparing for 2. By then I'll get my results from 1 and I'll be on my way to taking 2. If I can get to let's say I'm preparing for 2, 2's coming up, I'm going to test on 2, I get my results, I passed 1, Yahoo, right? Don't have to worry about it. But let's say I didn't pass 1. All right, you go, you prepare for 2, you take 2, you go back to 1. You come through 1 again. And then after you test there, you go and start preparing for 3. Okay. You can do this any way you want. It's just a suggestion, okay? Questions about this structure? I must be very thorough. That's good. All right. So let's look at what passes. If you pass an individual subtest, you are done with that. You don't have to worry about it. It's like, woohoo, you know, it's all downhill from there, right? So the individual score of 220 passes. And here is a sample score report. You can see this person took all 3 on the same day, but they knocked 2 of them out. They got a pass. And if you get a pass, you will not get a score. You'll never know how far over 220 you got. It frustrates some people. I say, take your pass and run. Okay, so you've got your pass. If you don't pass, you will see the number. That will give you an idea about how close to 220 you were. Typically speaking, if you're under 200, you're very far away. Okay, under 200 is pretty far. But I have also seen a lot of 219s, 218s. They're very frustrating. They're like a kick in the gut because it's like one question and it happens. The RICA does allow you to challenge a test score, but in all the years I've ever done this, I've never, ever heard of a challenge winning. So save your money. Okay. Again, I'm a realist. Remember that the multiple choice questions count for 80% of your subtest. So that needs to be when you are in that testing situation. That's where the majority of your time should be spent, is on the multiple choice. That's going to make or break the test. So the constructed responses and the case study only count for 20%. That's why I also recommend when you go in, you take the multiple choice first. Okay. It kind of helps you to get your juices flowing. You can flag questions and come back to them, but you want to do that. Now, also on your score report, you will get what they consider a little bit of diagnostic information. It's very limited. And you will see a number of stars for each of the domains related to the multiple choice and the constructed response, okay? You'll see that. Again, that gives you an indication of how close you were. Now, if you've ever taken this and started comparing your stars with other people's stars and they passed and you didn't, you're going to drive yourself crazy, okay? These stars do not represent one-to-one correspondences of numbers. They represent a range. We're talking about scores that are weighted. We're talking about, you know, this many in this subtest. It's this crazy mathematical formula that I couldn't even begin to understand or know. But I do want to give you just a little bit of clarity that 3 stars compared to that person's 3 stars, this person's 3 stars, they are not representing the same raw score. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's talk about a little bit of breaking news right now. You probably know that as of right now, at least last I've checked, there are still testing fee waivers. Those are going away June 30th. Which means get yourself registered ASAP. Don't pick any dates, but get yourself registered so you can take advantage of those waivers, okay? They will either expire on June 30 or when the money runs out. So it could expire today, it could expire tomorrow. We don't know. We're really close to the wire. So if you can, I would get on and I would register for each one separately so that you can pick a separate date for each one. So you're going to go in and go for subtest 1 and go through the whole process. Then and pay. Well, you wouldn't pay, but you'll check out. Then you'll go into subtest 2, go through the whole process. That way you could give different dates when you pick your dates. Okay. If you go all 3 at the same time, you have to pick them on the same day. So keep that in mind. You can put questions in the Facebook group. I have never personally run through that. But there are a lot of people, a lot of members can help direct you with that, okay, and what that looks like. Now, I do want to tell you about a really awesome thing that we've gotten to know more about, and there are accommodations available for some test takers. So, and I'm going to drop another link in the chat. If this is you, I want you to do some investigation, because this could be the difference between you getting 75 minutes or you getting 115 minutes. And that time difference could be what gives you a pass. Okay, just the time. So here's the way it works. There are certain qualifying conditions where you are entitled to additional time, which is actually time and a half. So what's half of 75, okay, and added to 75. So these are the ones I know of that have worked. If you are, if English is not your primary language, and you can document this, so a visa, a birth certificate, something like that, those have been getting time and a half. If you have a documented cognitive disability, like dyslexia, like attention deficit disorder, you could qualify for time and a half. If you have a documented medical issue, like anxiety, I've heard of that one, that with like a doctor's note, make an appointment with your doctor, get a note kind of thing. Perhaps, and there are other medical conditions. I had a member who had a stroke, and she gets accommodations because she only types with one hand. And so she needed additional time, and she qualifies for additional time. It's all about the documentation of what the issue is. You may have, let's say, IBS, bladder issues, and you need frequent breaks. It doesn't hurt to ask. It's free to apply. And it takes anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks are the numbers that I've heard to get a response. The kicker is you have to register before you apply for accommodations, but you can't pick a test date until you receive word of whether or not you've been approved. Okay. Okay. Yes, the fee waiver will pop up automatically if you qualify, and I believe it's based on your residence. But from what I've heard, pretty much you're living in California, you're going to get it. Okay, yeah, and it's expiring for sure by June 30th, but maybe sooner. They said when the money runs out. So do it like tonight or tomorrow. Any questions about any of those? The waivers, the accommodations. Okay. Okay, so if you have already registered but have one of those qualifying reasons for more time, should I call? Yes, I would. I have, and you could put that question out to the Facebook group also. The CDC goes live every Wednesday for a Zoom call that you can hop on and actually ask questions. You can check on their website when that is, but every week. So that is an option as well. And if you think that it is going to be something that will make or break, I would absolutely get it. There's no shame in getting extra time. I don't know why it's timed in the first place. All right, let's see. Okay, so where do you start? Now, you really need to know what you're up against, which means you should go onto the CDC website and look at the content specifications. And actually, I already found that for you, so I'm just going to drop that in the chat again. And this is a pretty big document, and I don't want you to get overly frustrated with it, because what I did inside of the course is I went through it with a fine-tooth comb and picked out what you needed to know. I went through and said, these are the big things, you know, that are going to move the needle. But that is there so that you know exactly what is in there. You absolutely must read the National Reading Panel Summary Report. Now, let me explain why, and I'm going to give you a link. It's a free document. The National Reading Panel Report, the National Reading Panel was a group of literacy experts that was brought together in the late 90s. And what they did is they completed a meta-analysis of all of the reading research that was within that time frame. And they determined through that meta-analysis what really makes a difference teaching kids to read. And the results of their findings is the report, the National Reading Panel report. But they also produced a summary report. The actual full report's like 200-300 pages. Don't read it. The summary report is a 46-page document. And it is written for teachers and parents and, you know, people who just need to know. Now, here's why you need to know this. This was a pivotal document. It was completely changing everything. I was in school at this time. Actually, I was in the classroom at this time. I got my credential in the early 90s. So I saw all this come through. I was a product of whole language, the whole shebang. So about 2 years after the National Reading Panel report was released, the RICA was developed. The RICA is a direct result of the findings of the National Reading Panel report. So the National Reading Panel came up with these 5 pillars of literacy that teachers need to teach. They talk about the instructional pedagogy and best practices that we need to be using to teach kids to read. Those 5 pillars are your 5 domains. It's like peanut butter and jelly, you guys. Like, it's going to make everything make sense. And if you may have read it in your undergrad, you got to read it closer to your test date. Okay. It's very, very important. The other document that I'm going to give you is particularly important for subtest 1. This is called the Put Reading First document. And this one is, there's a lot of white space around it. So it's a really quick read, but it's predominantly about early literacy, phonemic awareness, phonological awareness, the alphabetic principle. Okay. So it's very, very informative and easy read, super good one. So you're going to read those 2. The other thing I suggest, and I fully admit I am 100% biased, but I suggest you join my course. And the reason is, first of all, I trust me. And, you know, I'm somebody who actually walked the walk, talked the talk. And Sue, you're here. You can attest that I know what I'm talking about, right? Hopefully she's still sitting there for me. Right, Sue? Uh-oh. Dead air, girl.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. I was like, come on, girl. All right. So Sue worked it with me.
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
You absolutely know what you're doing.
Like the mic is a little iffy, but yes. So I created this course when there you are. Hi, girl. Okay. I created this course because I knew that Zerillo, the Cliff Notes, all of those things, they're very dry. They can be very intimidating. It's like learning another foreign language. And I'm really visual. I need to see something. So I created a course that involves pictures, videos, examples so that you could see it. All right. So if that's kind of how you work, then you will benefit from that. I only recommend 2 printed resources, only 2. And I have a study planner that involves them, and I've aligned them to the new subtest format. And I tell you which questions to do. I tell you which pages to read. The Ready for RICA Zerillo book. Okay, the blue one, I've aligned it to this. Also, this book was published by Pearson. Pearson publishes the RICA. I always like to connect my dots because you never know. The other one I really like is the RICA, the Cliff Notes book. And I like this one because the Zerillo book is great, but there are no practice tests, none. There are really good practice questions and case studies and constructed responses in here. So these are the two I recommend. And I also suggest you attend workshops with me. They're just like this. So they're live, they're interactive. It's just like this, but it's about the content. We keep it pretty engaging in order to give you another form of delivery. Okay. All right. So inside of the course, I cover everything. It's comprehensive. It's completely comprehensive. It's got the RICA subtest structure, an overview of reading development, every subtest, every domain, every competency, written responses, the case study, everything is included. There are videos within each subtest module of me taking the practice test aloud, thinking through each question and annotating it so you hear my thought process as to why a question is right or wrong or a response is right or wrong. I also have extracted all of the audio content from 15 hours of video and put it into a podcast course so you can walk around and just plug it in and listen if you wanted to review it that way. And I do want to talk a little bit about the workshops. The workshops are something we added just a couple of years ago, and they have been incredibly popular. In fact, over the summer, Zoom caps my my members at 100. And there are situations where we may not have a spot, especially in subtest 1, because that's always the biggest one. The rest kind of seem to be a little bit smaller. But workshops are intended to be supplemental, and they are live Zoom sessions just like this. We cover the same content that is inside of the digital course because the content doesn't change. You still have to know the same stuff, right? So it's exactly the same content. The difference is that I embed the videos, we deconstruct some instructional strategies, we talk about the examples, I answer your questions, and you really get the benefit of connecting with other members and their questions and their experiences. They have so much to offer. And so it's kind of like this whole networking of this major study group coming in to support each other. It's super awesome. And the more engaged the group is, the longer the workshop is, but the deeper and the more stuff you get out of it, honestly. So it does allow for really deep discussion and questioning. I love them. They're fun. And we have a ton packed in there this summer. So the course RICA Prep 101 could be right for you if you think that you would benefit from a sequential and an asynchronous approach to the content so that you could study whenever you wanted. When I was going through grad school to get my reading specialist credential and my master's, I had 2 toddlers at home. So I woke up every morning at like 4 a.m. to write my thesis. So I get the whole, you kind of do what you got to do, you know? So you can do that. If you are a visual learner and you want to see examples, if just reading text heavy things is just kind of challenging, this could be right for you. If you think that you would benefit from a reliable and caring mentor, that's kind of me, it's kind of my thing. And I'm here, you know, people text me. It is just me, you guys. There is nobody else. I say we when I talk about RICA Prep, but really it's me and all the members. It's just me. So if you need something, you get me. And that is, you know, I've talked people down when they are on a cliff at the testing centers freaking out. So we just do things together and help. If you want the option of attending live workshops so that your study time is scheduled and you know you've got to be there, you might benefit from this. If you like the idea of listening to it as a podcast, you want to just plug in, walk the dog, do the dishes, you know, that kind of thing, this is an option. And if you like the idea of actually earning units while you're having to prepare, okay, those are some of the suggestions. Now, my course also has an app. there's a mobile app, so you can do all of this on your phone. So the mobile app, of course, we're looking at slide deck, so I wouldn't recommend watching the little slide deck. It'd be very hard to see it, but you have access to everything. You can listen to it. And so Kajabi is the name of my web host. And if you go to the App Store for either iPhone, Android, anything, and look for that little blue icon, that is how you can access the app to have it all on your phone, and it will keep your progress. Now, units. So let's talk about units. You can earn up to 3 units. So 2 units are available for my VIP and platinum members. This one is not available for a standard member. When a member completes all of the digital content, I can go into the back end and see your progress. I can see what you've completed and what hasn't been done. And when that content is completed and you have shared a case study with me so that I can read it and review it, I issue you a certificate of completion, which you upload to Teachers College of San Joaquin. And the unit cost is $150 to the college. Nothing comes to me. It's just you and them. And that's the cost for the transcript and the unit itself. Okay, so 2 units there. All members, all 3 levels, can earn 1 unit for attending each of the 3 workshops. We have 3, right? So you would attend each of the subtest workshops and read the National Reading Panel report and write me like a little paragraph summary just to prove you read it. It's kind of on your honor. And then I would issue you a certificate that you would upload, and that fee is $75. So each unit is $75 to them. And that is how you get those. They are PD units. Now, it's always a good idea to check with your district if they'll accept them. The only district I've had a problem with is LAUSD. They want their teachers to have graduate units, which I don't understand. That's a lot of money for you guys to go back and get grad units. So, but that is the only district. The rest have had no problem. So, but you might want to check with them, okay? You could also reach out to the Teachers College of San Joaquin. So I think I dropped that link in there already, didn't I, about the units? I'll go ahead and drop it in again so that you can read this on your own. Oops, sorry, that went to you, Kayla, just you by yourself, honey. Drop that in. Okay. So that's the unit information. It's available inside of the course on the website in the Facebook group. All right, so you ready to hear what this all costs and how it's broken down? All right. Yep. So there are 3 membership options, okay? And the memberships start with our standard member, which is $127. This is one payment and it's good for a year. It does not renew at the end of the year. It just goes away. I send a reminder, and if you need to do it again, but I don't, you know, I forget about all the subscriptions I have, and then pretty soon down the road, I've paid for things I no longer use. So I didn't want to do that to you guys. So this includes all of the digital content, everything that you see here, all of the videos, and you get invitations to the workshops, but workshops are supplemental and they cost $47 each. Okay. You can get 1 unit of credit for attending the workshop series. It's self-paced. There's a mobile app and you have it all for a year. The VIP is $40 more and it has all of this, but I also read your writing. So if you want me to read your case study, read your constructed response, make sure that you're on the right track, that is why that additional. And so you can earn 2 additional units for completing the course. Workshops are not included. That's again, $47 each. But this is an option. So if you, let's say you had 2 subtests left, like you've passed 1, but you had 2 left, you might want to do this one and then just pay for a couple of workshops if that's what you want to do. The platinum membership is kind of our Cadillac. It's everything. You get everything. 1 fee for the whole year. Anything I do, you come to. You are not bound by deadlines. You get unlimited workshops, unlimited written feedback on your writing. When I say, you know, enrollment closes, you don't have to worry about it because I give you the link, and if your kid's soccer game was canceled on Saturday morning, you can show up because you got the link. This is also available in 2 payments, so it can be broken down by half, and you just pay half of it the first month, half of it the second month. So that's another option as well. This one actually works out to be the most cost effective. If you're going to do, if you have 3 subtests and you're going to come to 3 workshops, the total cost, if you did this plus 47 plus 47 plus 47 is 308. But if you did it this way, you're already under. And let's say you didn't pass one and you wanted to come back, or life happened and you needed to come back. So it's an option. Now, as a thank you to everybody who is here today, I offer you a 10% off of whatever you want to do. Okay, so each of these is minus 10% for you if that's what you decide. And write this down. The coupon code is Newbie Q64. That's today's date. Newbie Q64. And if you want the platinum, it's going to be 10% less. If you want this one, 10% less. If you are a member already and you're like, well, I want to be a platinum and I'm a VIP, it actually will work for an upgrade. Okay. So it'll give you 10% off on an upgrade. So, but please know that this does expire. It will go away at midnight on Wednesday. That's also the deadline for the Subtest 1 workshop, which I'm going to show you a calendar in a moment. Okay. Questions about the membership levels?
Hello, I had a question.
Juliana, that's my niece's name.
If I were to get the platinum, and there, from what I'm understanding, they are like study sessions that you hold, or the other group members hold?
No, so we have a digital course. Stick around, I'm going to show you. Everything's in video. It's all there. You log in, you do it when you want, stop when you want. There's templates, there's notes. It's a course all unto itself. But you also do have the option of attending any of the live workshops, which are and I'm going to show you the calendar next so you can see kind of what that looks like. But our workshops are anywhere from 4 hours to 6 hours long.
Okay.
And we go through the entire subtest content.
Okay.
Live. Okay.
So I have a question. The standard member says that there's specific videos. You say you have an app. I know I follow you on the Facebook page, but I thought you only did the workshops where you explain. When you do standard members, you see all these things. So does that mean that you have in your app like videos where you explain subtests, or what is all this like?
Yep. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to take you inside. So yeah, because I understand. No, it's a digital course. So there's modules. It's like, okay, let's go through all the subtest 1 stuff. Here's the videos, here's the templates, you know, and you spend 2 or 3 hours in there. And yeah, you get to, it's kind of like a self-paced course is exactly what it is. It's just a digital course, but I'm going to show you what that looks like just to clarify.
Is it arranged by subtest?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep. It's arranged by subtest. It follows the new format. There's nothing out there that's aligned to the new format except what I've done. You know, the books aren't available anymore. They did it to the old format. And so I've tweaked that for you guys. Yeah. I'm going to write the coupon code again. It's Newbie Q64. Do you see it down there at the bottom in red? Newbie Q64 is the coupon code. If you put that in when you check out, and I'll show you all of this so that you guys know how to kind of maneuver. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Miss Emily, I have a quick question, but
Sure.
you said that because I was just gonna get the standard one, but you said that in order to get even the 1 unit, I would have needed to have done all 3 workshops as well, correct?
Correct. The only way to get 1 unit is the workshop series. So you would have to come to each of the workshops. But
Okay.
if you went platinum, and you did each of the workshops, and you completed the course, you can get 3 units. So it
Oh,
just,
3
it
units.
works.
Okay.
Yeah, it works out to be cheaper in the
Okay.
long run. Yeah, it does.
And then each unit is 150.
No, each unit is $75. And
Oh.
that goes to Teachers College of San Joaquin. That's a pretty cheap cost for a unit.
Okay.
So yeah, that all goes to them. I don't get anything from that.
Okay. Have you had anyone from San Bernardino City Unified get units?
I don't know, because I don't know where
Okay.
they're coming from, quite honestly. I just know LAUSD has always given us a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let me explain. Every month I put out a workshop calendar. And I always have it a month in advance. So June and July is available. I always post it in the Facebook groups. I post it on the website. I send it out in my newsletter. So if you've ever signed up on a form in my website and subscribed to my emails, you'll get notifications from me. So you can see here, I've got the fees. So member fee is $47, non-member fee. So let's say somebody's like, well, I only have 1 subtest left. Well, don't become a member, just come to a workshop. And that's $97, and you can kind of brush up and be ready to go. So you can see right now, let's see, today is right here, the 4th. Okay. So you can see Wednesday enrollment closes for subtest 1, and we're doing our subtest 1 workshop over 2 days. It's going to be Friday from 5 to 7, and then Saturday from 8 to noon. Okay. And it's a 2-part series, 1 fee for both of those days. And then on Sunday, I'm opening enrollment for the boot camp. Now, we call the boot camp a boot camp because it's pretty intense. It's every day for 6 days. And we break apart every single subtest over 2 days. So people can join the entire boot camp. Let's say they want to do all 3 subtests. And if you're a member, you could do all 3 for $127, which is a little bit of a discount rather than just $47, $47, $47. If you're a platinum member, everything you see here is free. You don't have to pay again. But if you just wanted to do subtest 1 or 2 or 3, you can do them separately also. All right. Or you could do it all at once. So we have a lot of workshops scheduled. Here's our July. Okay, you can see the next newbie Q&A is coming up on Sunday, July 2nd, another Friday, Saturday subtest 1, another boot camp. And so there's a lot of opportunities for reviewing and studying. Again, these are supplemental. The content inside of the course has everything. These are just live sessions, just like we're doing right here. Okay. And I will show you what that looks like. Questions about that? I'll go back to June just in case.
I do.
Yeah.
Say that we bought like the boot camp, say we're the standard membership, and then we're able to buy the whole boot camp for $127. And if I like say you have 1 boot camp in June and then 1 in July, can I attend like for subtest 1 only in June and then do subtest 2 and 3 in July? Okay, so it's all
No,
that weight.
It's this boot camp, but you can just come to subtest 1. You would just do the $47.
Okay.
And then you would do the other 2 separate. You
Do
can
them
totally
separate.
do that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just not, it's not discounted as a boot camp. The boot camp is you're with me all week.
The whole, okay, together. Okay.
yeah.
Thank- Oh, one
And-
more question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So, okay, and say that I buy the standard membership now, and then after I check with my district and I do clear that I could buy the units and those would count for my district, can I then upgrade it and then do the workshops?
You can upgrade. Just know that the upgrade is a little more than the difference. It's not
Oh.
just the difference. It's a little bit more because every time there's a charge through my website, it costs me money.
Okay, okay.
I have to kick that back to you. You know, I pay taxes on that and I have processing fees. So it's a little bit more. I want to say I think the upgrade from this to platinum is 187.
Okay.
So, but you can see here going from, if you did 127 plus 127, right? You're already at over 250.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just
254,
have to
yeah.
do the math and decide whatever
Okay.
works for you, but you can absolutely upgrade. You can always upgrade. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Other questions? Okay. Okay. So yeah, Mark, so the link is, you can just visit the website. Absolutely. And there will be an email that will come in and kind of show you what to do to get started. So and thanks for being here, Mark. Good to see you, dear. So I wanted to talk to you about the video just a little bit. We talked a little bit before before we started, but so the CDC puts out new templates every summer. There are 3 templates for the video option. The video option, in my opinion, is much more work. I also do not recommend it as a first time go with the RICA, because you have to prove your knowledge of the content. And the way you learn the content is by studying for the written, truly. Okay, because you have to use the terminology, you have to know what all that is. We held 3 cohorts this year, and I'm not doing cohorts anymore. I've decided. It is very time consuming on my part, because I read everybody's templates, I'm watching their videos, and nothing else. I can't work with anybody else while I'm doing that. And so I'm just going to turn it into a digital course and do a couple of Q&As with it, but I'm not going to be reading anybody's templates again. It's completely stops my personal life completely. So just keep that in mind, but there will be a course available to guide you and show you what you need to do. But the rest of it and doing it is really up to that person. I don't recommend this. The first thing I do is always tell everybody, don't do it. Do the written, don't do the video. But it may be an option for you only if you have your own class. But some of you, if you have mod severe kids for SPED, I wouldn't recommend it. It's very hard to be able to demonstrate the things that you need to demonstrate. So because there's just some additional challenges, it's very, very challenging. The choice is yours, but I would really caution you against it. I only recommend it if you've attempted the written several times and you maybe need more time, or you have severe test anxiety, then it's an option. If you're very comfortable in front of the class, if you have really good classroom management, if you're very engaging, it might be an option. But most new teachers struggle with some of that. And so you'll have to decide if that's going to work for you. But again, the new templates will come out in July. My course will be updated and available probably August and September. It's only going to be digital only, with a couple of Q&As attached. No reading of content anymore. And I will start hosting webinars to give you guys information, just like I did here. For those of you that are interested, those will start happening end of August and what do you call it? End of August and beginning of September. The first submission will be in October. You'll get scores in November. So there's an October, a March, and a June submission date. That's it. Questions about that?
For the video performance, does it go by sections of the RICA, like subtest 1, 2, or 3, or do you have to do all 3 together for the video?
They give you a breakdown of 3 different templates. What you have to do is write a lesson and a template and a video for a whole class, a small group, and a one-on-one. And they tell you which competency you have to do. And we don't know what those competencies are until July comes out again.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't really matter. It just counts as all 3 subtests passed if you do pass it.
Yeah. Yeah, it counts as, because each of those competencies is coming from a different subtest area.
Okay, so it's kind of like the FTPA or CalTPA, right? Where
Yeah.
you lesson, write your analysis, and then record
S-
yourself.
Yeah, similarly, you have to pull data to support your lesson. You have to write your lesson. You have to talk about your class demographics. You have to do a reflection. Yeah. And I've never done the CalTPA, so I'm not sure, but I'm assuming it's kind of similar. Yeah. Oops. Okay. All right. Okay, so I want you to remember the test is not easy. It really isn't. It has one of the lowest first-time pass rates. The video, though, has a 50% pass rate. The written has a 67. So the odds are in your favor for the written. The video is more challenging. Keep that in mind. You will have to study, and some of you, if you fall on that disadvantaged side, are going to have to study a lot. So you really want to use your planners inside of the course. I have a planner. I suggest 3 weeks to get ready for each subtest. You can expedite that if you have additional time over the summer. You could squish it into, a couple of weeks, and take those practice tests, practice writing out those constructed responses. If you're a special ed teacher, visit the primary classrooms, especially a first grade classroom. That's where you're going to see a lot of things in action. Brush up on your writing skills. And if you decide to come with me, I will do my best to help you. I do want to leave you with a concept and thoughts about your mindset. And I mentioned it, just a little bit when we were getting started, but the RICA will come and go. You will be a reading teacher for the duration of your career. I don't care what you teach, what grade, where you are. You have to have knowledge. And the most impactful thing that a student has in their favor to be a learner for life and a reader for life is a knowledgeable, well-prepared teacher. So the RICA is requiring you to put that knowledge under your belt. And I know it's frustrating, but trust me, these are things you will do every day in your career, and you need to get good at it. So embrace it as an opportunity to be really amazing, because if you've ever read any of the statistics on the school to prison pipeline, that when kids are illiterate, our society has a big problem. So I hope that you really do take it to heart and look at it as an opportunity for you. Just so you guys know, I also have a group called the New Teacher Success Network, where I mentor and coach new teachers. And I have a podcast. So if you want to hear me, I have a podcast called the New Teacher Success Network, and talks kind of about all the things related to teaching, anywhere from lesson planning and grading and stress and all that good stuff. So you can go through and pick that up on all those places. Catch me on YouTube. We talk a lot. You'll see a lot of our updates about the RICA come up on YouTube, a lot of things related to reading intervention, which is really my #1 passion. And that is available. And then you can follow me on Insta too. So I know it always seems impossible, but you will get through this. I have seen people that have the most amazing stories of perseverance, how many times they've taken it and they get through it, and you will get through it too. And in your time, it's a journey for sure. And so I hope we can speed it up for you. But you will, I promise, I promise. So jot down my email. If you ever need me, you can reach out, readingdiva06@gmail.com. And I'd like to, for those of you that are planning to, that would like to stick around, I would like to show you inside of the course. And if you received what you needed and you are good to go, thank you for being here. I'm so happy you spent a little bit of time with me tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know time is hard to come by, although I'm hoping you're all on vacation. But I'm going to go ahead and take you inside. While I'm getting ready, are there any questions while I'm kind of transitioning over?
I have
Patty.
another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if I were going to take the workshop for Subtest 1 would you suggest already having done the content in the course for subtest 1 before you go to a workshop?
I think that it is the ideal way to do it, because what will happen is you get an overview of what we're going to cover. So your brain, it's just like pre-reading for your kids, right? You're
Yeah.
like, I'm going to build some background knowledge,
Yeah,
and then we're going to come in and we're going to go deeper. And so
Yeah.
you will get more out of it.
okay,
Do you have to do it that way? Absolutely not. You could do
Makes
it
sense.
backwards, but it's really beneficial to get it. So if you could just watch the videos before we meet, I think you'll get a great deal out of it. Yeah.
that sounds great. How many hours would you say that is before, like for subtest 1? Or you're going to go into that right now?
I am. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
show you. I can't
right.
remember off the top of my head, but it seemed my workshops used to be 4 hours and it's now 6. So you can tell we've kind of added over the years. Yeah, it's a long day. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, that's why we're breaking it into 2.
All right.
Alba, go ahead, sweetie.
I'm actually scheduled to take subtest 1 again next week on the 12th, on Monday, I believe. Yeah, Monday. And it's the second time that I take it. The first time I ran out of time with the multiple choice because I spent too much time on my case studies. And I got a 213. So I'm pretty sure it was because I ran out of time on the multiple choice.
Yeah.
So if I and I am interested in the 1 unit, because that I need 1 unit for the next, step when I finish this. I have the blue book from the Ready for RICA. I have that one. So if I have that book and I buy the standard membership for now,
Might be enough to get you over the hurdle. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it could.
Okay.
Yeah, it could. Absolutely. Sometimes just hearing it delivered in a different way and focusing on
Yeah.
some things is, really beneficial. So yeah, you could totally do it that way.
Because
Yeah.
I would really like to attend the workshop for this weekend, but we have a wedding out of the country actually.
Oh,
So we're
golly.
leaving Friday morning and we
Okay.
won't even be back until like Sunday. So I would miss
And then you're
that.
testing. Woo.
Yes, and then I'm testing. So I'm gonna miss the workshop, but
You sure you don't want to move that test date just a few days?
I know I look, but then I almost just like I want to get it done so I can start studying for the second one.
I gotcha. You do what you got to do. But yeah, it's available in that way. You can do it however you would like. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to show you guys, this is the website, ricaprep101.com. You can see it up here, and it just gives you some options. You can see everywhere there's a button, if some different information that you may have, little preview video, little picture of me, some testimonials. I would really suggest, if you don't know my reputation, go to Google and check me out. Okay. We have a 5-star rating. I'm not sure how many reviews we're up to, 100 and something, I think right now, but that's a pretty good sample size, but you can read what people are saying. So don't trust me, trust them. Go on Facebook and you can read. So, and here's the things that we were talking about. I just want to kind of show you how to maneuver. That's my adorable family. Aren't they so cute? And my dog. Jack is always at my feet. So, and then I always post the calendars down below so you can see what's happening. Okay. So what would happen? Let's say, for example, I want to show you the platinum because this one's a little bit where you have to make another choice. So let's say you decide I'm going to go to the platinum. You would click join now. And then it's going to tell you a little bit about it. And you can sign up. But here's what I want to show you. You have 2 options. You could do 1 payment, or you could do 2 payments. Either one. Okay. If that works for you. And it will take you to a little checkout page. Okay. And it's going to take here's where that coupon code goes, your information. Now I want you to know, let's see, this little box right here, you must check this box to receive future workshop invites. You have to check that box or I can't email you from the website, which means you might miss stuff. Okay. People sometimes just, they don't, they don't know. So make sure that you do that. Kayla, go ahead, sweetie.
Hi, sorry.
That's okay. I know it's hard to find the mute button, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how long are you gonna be on here? Because I'm currently working on my TPAs, both of the cycles, and I'm on a crunch time, and it's due. I mean, I have to submit both of them in June 15th. So I'm hopping on here because I wanted to know information. I do want to be I want to do the RICA, because after that I have to do all the 3 tests. I already have my RICA schedule already, and so I really want to cramp this together before I take the test, but I also want to do my TPAs right now. So can I talk with you later about this?
Yeah, I'm recording this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oops.
No, that's okay. It's totally okay. So all you have to do is, yeah, just let me know and I'll shoot you the recording. And you'll have all your questions answered.
Okay, I'll contact you later then.
Okay, sweetie. Good
okay,
luck.
have a good night.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, bye. All right, so let's say that you have enrolled. Right here, you'll get a little avatar. This will be where you log in. So when you click this, there's your library, your settings. So your settings, let's say you needed to change your email address, your payment information, you want to subscribe or not subscribe, that's where you would go. But when you click on library, this is where the information, your products are housed. And so here is the main asynchronous course, is this first one. Now, everybody who enrolls gets both the asynchronous and the podcast course. The video course, that's a separate purchase. This one's closed actually right now. It will reopen when it's rewritten after the new templates come out. But that wouldn't be in your library, okay? So you would click on view product, and then here is where the course is. So you can see there's 27 lessons, and each of these boxes is a module. So here's the course introduction, the fundamentals, the subtest 1, subtest 2, subtest 3, and the wrap up and some old stuff if you want to see when I was younger and thinner. You could go back and look at those. All right. So what I suggest is that you start at the top and you work your way down and you do not skip. I created this course to be very linear. And so I would literally start here, watch these each little video will tell you what to do. Pay attention to what is in the margin. There are PDFs. Here's that National Reading Panel report. Read the show notes. The show notes are always underneath the video, and there is information to know there. And you can see there are comments, questions, and things like that from members. Okay. So and then I would just go through. I'm just going through each module. Okay. Tell you a little bit about me, tell you about the course structure so you can see what all is involved. Now, in the study guides and planners, I wanted to show you, this is what our study guide, it's not like a practice test, okay? It's a guide to tell you what to do. So I break each subtest down into 3-week schedules. The first week is going to be one domain, the next week is the other domain, and then the third week is the writing. And I tell you, here are the resources you're going to need. Here is what you are going to do each day. So Monday, watch this, read this. Tuesday, watch this. I tell you what to do. Thursday, you're going to read this. Here are the practice questions you're going to use to check yourself. And then the next week, you're going to work on another domain. Okay. And then the third week is going to be the constructed responses, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I give you a blank one in case you just like to redo it yourself so that you can plan and you want it to look the same, that's fine. And so I do that for each of the subtests. And I also tell you attend a subtest workshop if possible. So that is what I would do, is print everything out and make a RICA binder. Make a RICA binder. Put your well, if you decide to, you don't need to print the National Reading Panel report. You could do it on the computer. But I'm a old school, so I like paper pencil, you know? So that's just the way I would do it. So I have each of those planners, okay, for each one. And then I go to the next category. And it's going to be the fundamentals. Don't skip these little couple minute videos because I tell you how to maneuver and what to do. But I want to show you another little video. Okay, video. The next category. So the subtest modules is where the bulk of everything is. And here, what I wanted you to see is that I've linked the practice tests. I've put the study schedule in there. And then where the domains are, there are worksheets that align with the slide deck. So here is the domain 2 worksheet. So if you want your notes to all kind of coordinate and to be aligned to the slide decks, this is where you would keep all of that. Okay. And so we're printing all of that out and it goes into our RICA binder as well. Now, another important thing to note is under each domain video, I have a number of video links that I reference in the presentation. And these are videos of strategies or instruction or content that I'm trying to show you what it looks like. And it's linked in there so you can go, oh, there's that link. Okay, she said to stop and watch it. You can come in and watch it so you understand. Now, when we are in a workshop, we go through these live and I deconstruct them with you right there and we talk about them. They're pretty powerful. Okay, so that's where all the links are. Again, you can see other content. Okay. And so we go through all of it. Here is the video of me deconstructing the test. So I just want to give you a taste of this. So option B, recognize that a spoken word is made up of sounds. Well, this could be it. All right. So we've got, she's giving them sounds. Kids are going to have to connect it to a word they're familiar with. This is a maybe. So we're going to go ahead and leave this one here for a second and understand the principles of phonics. Now, I want you to think for a minute, why would it not be phonics? And if you are thinking because there are no letters involved, you're absolutely right. This is not a phonics lesson. If it were to relate to phonics, you would see letters of some sort. You kind of get the gist, right? So it's me breaking it down step by step so you hear my thoughts. That has been pretty powerful for a lot of people, quite honestly. And so we go through that. I can come back to my categories. I could go into subtest 2, subtest 3, the course wrap up. In subtest 3, the case study, I have worksheets, outlines, instructional strategies, the case study format with a sample, sentence frames so that you know how to pull it all together. Okay. Wendy, go ahead, sweetie.
Okay, so I have all 3 subtests scheduled for July 1st. If I sign up to be your platinum, would I make it in time for all the workshops before that time?
The work you would, because we have a boot camp in June, which means we're doing all of them in 6 days.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's right before the test. Okay.
That's
so I would
actually
hit
good timing.
all subtests. Yes, that is. Okay.
It's going to be a lot though. I mean, no doubt about it. It's going to be a lot. And are you advantaged or disadvantaged in that test?
I feel I am in the advantage because
okay,
I've
then
been, yeah.
Okay, that might be good then. Yeah. So yeah, it would fit in. And that's why I do that, because people are trying to get these all the time and I'm just trying to squish them in for you guys.
Oh no, that's great. So I'm glad I'm reaching out now.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So whoops. Let's see, what else do I have here for you? Okay, let me look and see. Jennifer, go ahead, sweetie.
Hi, I have a question. So if I was to pay for the membership this month, I'm trying to focus on the CSEC because I do have my CSEC scheduled for July 1st. So after July 1st, since I am off of work because of the summer, I'm planning to focus on the RICA the whole month of July, maybe start testing in August. Do I have to pay right now, or is there going to be another 10% for the month of July? Should I wait, or what do you recommend?
Totally up to you. I do recommend that you only focus one at a time. Like if you're focused on CSET, put the RICA aside, truly. And we are having another one of these on July 2nd. So your membership will be good for a year. So it's totally up to you how you want to do. We're going to have another boot camp also in July.
Okay, so then will you still be providing that 10%?
Yeah,
day?
I always,
Okay.
I do it just like this. I always do it on a Q&A. It's just kind of the thank you for those of you that spend the time, you know, so because it's mutually beneficial because I get to show you how to use the course. And so it eliminates a lot of questions up front. So yeah, that's why I do it.
Yes, I kind of got a head start, but I'm still like, my mind is still on the CSET right now.
I totally
I'm trying
get
to
it.
focus. So I'm trying to focus on that. Okay, so do I have to log in for the whole meeting? Can I reach out just for the code and then purchase it in July then?
Oh yeah, just pop in toward the end.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be good. Okay.
Okay, then I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Juliana.
Hello again. I had a question. So
Yeah.
are you going to continue if I were to get like the membership, you said it's for a whole year on August, will you continue to do the workshops, the boot camps?
No, the boot camps are only during the summer. And I do, it also kind of depends on what's happening with my family. I did one in December between Christmas and New Year's. But I do workshops typically about every other week. So it takes 6 or 8 weeks to get through all 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are those recorded?
Nope.
Because I'm gonna be taking the RICA, the 1 and 2, at the end of this month, June, and I do want to take the 3rd one, but I have to wait like what, 45 days to take the 3rd one, or to retake
35 days from the date you took the test. Yeah, if you didn't get a pass.
for the same test?
For the same test, right?
Oh,
so if you didn't pass one, you took it on June 1, 45 days from June 1 is when you could take it again.
okay. Yeah. But if I were to take 1 and 2, fingers crossed I pass, thanks to you.
That's right.
And I take the 3rd one, those are different tests, right?
Oh yeah, they're all 3 different. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. And so remember, workshops are not recorded, and that's because all of the content is already recorded inside the course, as you saw. So I don't record it. It takes a lot of time to record and edit and upload. I just don't even do it. It's already there. So that is why those aren't recorded. You have to actually attend live. So here's the podcast, just so you guys can see. And it's just the audio. You would just find number 1 and start there and work your way down. Okay. And those are all available to you. Denise.
I have a question. So I took subtest, I took all subtests and I passed subtest 3, but not 2 and 1. But I took subtest 1 the first time, and I read the whole Zillow book, I think it's called.
Zillow.
Yeah, the Zillow book. And it's weird because I think I have a problem when it comes to multiple choice and making the right decision, because there's always 2 right answers. The first time I took it, I had gotten 3 pluses on domain 3 and the constructive report. But domain 2, I only got 2 pluses. So I had gotten a 209. And then I took it the second time and I got a 1+ on domain 3, which the first time I got 3 pluses. So I was like, what is going on? So I got a lower
versions. Yeah.
Or I think it was a different version. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But so I was like thinking, maybe if I take your workshop that you're gonna have next week, right? I believe, or this week.
Friday,
Like My problem, I feel like I already know everything that comes with phonics and domains. I actually just finished my TPAs, passed it, and I was in a kinder placement, right? So I know everything about, you know, blending, segmenting, and you know, all these things. So I'm like an expert with everything. But when it comes to the questions, I feel like I am not a good question, and I cannot make a good decision when it comes to both options because there's always two right answers. Do your workshops help with that? Because I feel
Well-
like that's the biggest problem, or is it, or do you teach more into like what phonics is and everything that the domains go?
So I go into the content of the domains. And I teach you how to, I teach you the terminology, the content, the instruction, and we cover each competency. And I'll say that I know it feels like there's two right answers, but there aren't. There's always one right answer. There are some that are close, but that's where the nuances come into being able to distinguish, ooh, what's that qualifier that kicked that out? And some of the one that I showed you of me taking the test, that can really help you see what some of those things are. That's very helpful. But we talk a lot about how you bring this into your classroom, because when you learn the content and you can apply it, you can pass any multiple choice questions. Okay. So
Oh.
I don't do a lot of, you know, here we do a couple of multiple choice questions just to check for your understanding, but teaching you to take a multiple choice question isn't going to serve you well. It's teaching you the content so that when you are presented with these situations, you know the answer. That's how we do it.